Hey, Chris.
Hey, how we doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm hanging in there.
Everybody, a couple minutes.
Yeah, no problem. I'm early for once.
1 second, I gotta let the dog in. Where is she? Let's do it. Come on, Bella. Good girl. Good girl. Come here. Look, Bennett decided to show up. No fire calls tonight. Someone give everybody about 3 more minutes and then we'll get started.
What was that comment? I missed it.
Hernandez said you're ugly.
I said no such thing.
No, believe me. I would not fib.
My mama raised ugly kids, not dumb ones.
Well, then, who raised you?
Record.
Hey, Mike, do you have all the controls? Do you think? I just want to make sure you do. I mean, you're logged in as me. Make sure you can let Madison in.
Yeah, I can share screen and everything.
Do you see where Billy's trying to get in?
And while you're at it, put the dog outside.
You leave my dog alone, man.
There's like 14 dogs in that house. 15 if you count Mike.
Exactly.
It ain't that cold. Let 'em
I
go
don't
play in
see
the
where he's
snow.
trying to get in.
Click on participants at the bottom.
Says invite, mute, reclaim host.
Go ahead and reclaim the host.
I see admit. All right.
And then now you should see,
Yeah, I see Billy. I just had him join.
yeah, there you go. All right, let me get started real quick. I'm only gonna spend about 3 minutes on what I'm gonna do, and then Mike Fernandez is gonna take over and do the training tonight on rules 5 and a little bit of rule 7. I have some other commitments, but I just want to make sure everybody got my email today. A couple important things in there. If you are interested in doing any spring stuff for high school, middle school, I need you to respond to the email I sent today so I can get you set up in all the stuff you need to do. I don't want to spend a lot of time with the class because I know several people are only interested in working the summer and just getting certified to take advantage of that. So, I don't want to have you take the time to get registered with the state and go through those things that you don't really have to do if you're not planning even remotely at doing any officiating in the DIAA, which is the high school and middle school stuff. If you just want to do tournaments, you don't have to respond to that email, but please respond to it if you're going to do that, so that I can set up some stuff and get you guys going, because now's the time to do that. And I know a few of you already have. And then secondly, in that email asked about Saturday. So because we got snowed out last Saturday, we're going to start a little bit earlier, I think 30 minutes earlier. We're going to do some chalk talk on mechanics, talk about our positioning, get everybody moving. And then we're going to have some face-off guys come in and actually spend 20, 30 minutes working on executing face-offs. So the email also asks you to just confirm if you're going to be there, so I can plan on who's going to be there. Because once we do the classroom training, there'll be some field training. You guys will shadow us as officials, and then we'll actually what we call shadow you. And I'm hoping by the end of the evening, there's 5 games that night at the Chase Fieldhouse. I'm hoping to get a couple of you on the field for a couple of games on your own, with us observing you. And those would be paid opportunities, so those would be your first actual paid opportunities. And then the following week, anybody else will get chances to get on the field and do games. So it's important that you let me know who's coming so I can plan on it. Also, regardless if you're going to stay after the initial training and the field work, you do need to have either a pair of black shorts, black athletic pants, and the blackest shoes you have. So you're going to need black shoes anyway. If you're going to referee, you're going to need a pair of like black 4-pocket shorts, tennis shorts or golf shorts. You can get them for a reasonable price at Kohl's or Walmart if you want, or you can buy them. Most of us get like Under Armour or Nike golf type of black shorts. They just have to be all black. If they have a logo, it has to be grayed out. I'll provide you with a whistle. I'll provide you with the use of flags and a striped shirt to use while we're there. So again, keeping with not having guys have to put up a lot of money right now. We'll get through the training and then we'll start to work on getting you a uniform. So are there any questions about that? All right, so find that email, reply to it, let me know what's going on so I can plan for both of those things. So with that, I'm going to dip out, and JP will probably be dipping out. We have a DLOA meeting to go to tonight, but Mike Hernandez is going to lead the training. And as much shit as we give Mike, he's a good guy. He's a very good official. He's become one of our stalwart officials. Go anywhere, do anything. He had the great honor this summer of officiating the U15 championship game at the World Series of Youth Lacrosse. So that was a pretty big deal, televised game. And Mike is on the trail to try out for DLOA. Hopefully we get him in this fall. So very good official, does some other sports. He's also one of our certified trainers through US Lacrosse, so he knows the stuff, and he will lead you the rest of the way, and then just do those other things and we'll be good. So you guys have a great night. Mike, I'll let you take over. You'll still see you'll still see my presence here because I'm recording the meeting on my computer. Speaking of that, I will send out another email. I do have all the PowerPoints and meeting videos up on the website. So either later tonight or tomorrow morning, I'll send you the link to where that is. It's actually under training materials. You can probably find it if you go to DelawareLaxRef.org, but I'll send you the specific link right to that page because I did it today. And then I'll add this video when you guys are done. All right, I'm done. Mike, go.
All right. All right, guys. So we're gonna go over personal fouls. One other thing I wanted to add. I am the youth game assigner. So if you have the opportunity, if JP doesn't need you, if you're gonna work in the spring to ref some lacrosse on some Saturdays, I'll get in touch with you guys and get you to where you're on the emails to let me know your availability, and I'll get you guys out on the field for that. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started with personal fouls. I can pull it up. Can everyone see the PowerPoint? Or are you still looking at me?
I'm still looking at you.
Still looking-
Just see.
I don't see a PowerPoint.
All right, hold on. Get this right. Why are you not doing this for me? Safari.
Mike, Greg's coming. He'll be here in a second.
Okay. Some
And all
reason-
those great things about you.
I know. Some reason it's not coming.
You
up.
have Mike. Oh shit. Mike, do you have the PowerPoint up on a
Yeah.
browser? So
Mhm.
go to share screen.
Yeah,
You should get an option to pick a browser.
Safari. Yeah,
Boom. There you go.
there we go. See,
You know,
still-
this is my real life job, is telling numbskulls how to teach people with a computer. So you're lucky.
Well, my real life job is hit an
Go
extra
over to,
button.
no,
Hold your
don't
breath.
do that. Don't do that. Go over to the right side of the screen. See where it says slideshow next to share?
Oh, get out.
Keep
of
going. No.
Other
keep
way,
going,
other way.
Other way, other way.
By the way,
other
we're
way,
in the
keep going.
northern hemisphere. You want to go to the right.
You're stupid.
See where it says share in orange?
Yeah.
All right. Click slideshow right next to that. There you go.
There we go. All right.
All right.
He is a better official
Covered
than
up by
Presenter,
everybody. That's what
gentlemen, I
I'm saying, of
promise.
course.
All right, we good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, you guys have fun.
All right, guys. So we're gonna go over Rule 5, personal fouls. So remember, these are fouls of a serious nature. And they're gonna be, they could be a minute, they could be 2 minutes or 3 minutes. The more of the, most things can be 1 minute. The 2 minute and 3 minute varieties can be more if checks are to the head or neck, a defensive player, or if it's a targeting foul. Remember, we got a kill play after our slow whistle techniques. It's not like it's like a technical foul, like a push or anything like that, where we can just do a play on and they could keep playing if the offense, whoever's offended, keeps the ball. Everything's gonna be a flag down, and we gotta put these players into the box. All right, the first one we go over is cross check. A player may not check his opponent with his cross in a cross check position. That is a cross that is with that part of the handle of the cross that is in between the player's hands is either thrusted away from the body or is being hold extended away from the body. So this isn't like cross check holds, which remember came legal about 2-3 years ago. It is anything that's a thrusting motion and a hitting motion, to where the shaft of the cross goes through the body, and this can be exact 1 minute if it's in between the shoulders and excuse me, and the waist, or even down low. But anything head or neck is going to be 2-3 minute fouls. And we'll talk about how we enforce this a little bit later. But those are one of the things, head or neck, we would get together and talk about, make sure we're all on the same page on what time we would give them, 2 or 3 minutes. But we'll go after we get through all this. All right, illegal body check. And one other thing, the signal here, I'm sure Greg's going over the signals. You're going to put your hands together and extend them out just like you're cross-checking somebody when you're administering the foul to the table. All right, legal body checks. Excuse me. All right, body checking an opponent who is not in possession of the ball or within 5 yards of a loose ball. It can be body checking an opponent from the rear or at or below the waist. If any part of the body of the opponent besides their feet is touching the ground, so if they're on the knee, if they're on the ground trying to get up, and especially for this year with how the face roll rules have changed, crouch down, excuse me, taking the face off. So like, remember, we always want to protect the face-off players until they can get up and out of their stance and away from the play. We need to protect those players, especially when they don't see the hit coming. And that's more into the defensive players. We see a good example of this here in the bottom right. The ball's clearly behind X, away from the play, and we have a late hit here. And Greg will talk more about how we handle this with mechanics on who's watching the shot and who's watching the shooter in our 2-man mechanics and even our 3-man mechanics. But you guys will start out with the 2-man mechanics. We'll worry about the 3 mechanics later. And we see the, excuse me, the signal for this here. We're just going to start with our elbow tucked in, and we're going to extend our elbow out to show the signal for a legal body check. Any questions about cross checks or legal body checks so far? All right. All right. This is getting into what I was talking about with the 2 3-minute fouls. The checks involving head or neck, defenseless player, and targeting. We discuss all headshots, targeting fouls as a crew. It's not like I'm working with Billy Madison. I call a hit to the head. Even if Billy doesn't see it, he may saw something I may have not saw. We still need to get together and talk, and not me going to the table without talking to Billy and giving a 3-minute foul, and Billy not understanding why we gave that foul, especially if Billy is near the table and the coach is going to ask him a question, and coach is going to ask, like, why is that 3 minutes? Billy's going to have no idea. But if me and Billy have that discussion, and I'm the only one that saw it, and I have most of the information about that, I can pass that along to Billy, and it just improves the communication between us and the coaches on why we gave whatever amount of minutes for that foul. Remember, with targeting, that's a foul we can consider ejection. I mean, most fouls you can consider ejection, but that's one of the ones that we have to at least bring up the topic of ejection. Especially with like most of my conversations with head or neck, especially if it's nasty enough. If we're going to talk about 3 minutes, I always bring up the thing of, do we need to talk about ejection? If it's a quick no, then it's a quick conversation on that part. But at least it opens up that conversation if there needs to be one. All right. And anything involving checks to the head or neck, defenses or targeting, it's a minimum of 2 minutes. It's not like we can go to the table and give just 1 minute. If we're going to say it's to the head or neck or the other two, it needs to be at least 2 minutes. The rule of thumb I've always used that Greg and JP have taught me, and some other guys have taught me, how I distinguish if I'm going to give 2 minutes or 3 minutes. I always think of if it's excessive and if it's intentional. If it's more one or the other, if it's more just on the excessive side, and I don't think he really made the intent to do it, it was more just a hard play, they just read wrong, or if I thought it was more just intentional, but it wasn't on the excessive side, he just made contact with the head or neck, I'll go the 2 minutes. If I think it's both intentional and excessive, that's when I know it needs to be, in my mind, more of an automatic 3. I mean, but like I said, we're going to talk about it as a crew, but that's the thought going in my mind, and that's the thought can go in your mind on how to distinguish what should we give there. Any questions on that? All right, I'll take silence as no. All right, illegal crossing equipment. This can be the deep pocket, of course. Any mismeasurement with the head of the stick, whether it's too pinched, the ball won't come out, the pocket's too deep. This can be equipment, which most of the time is just, especially if it's like JV players or kids who don't have brand new equipment or newish equipment, like the palms are worn out, this kind of thing. As long as they tape this to where their palm's not showing, then there's no foul there. Especially if I see it like in pregame, or if it could have happened in the game, or it looks like it's just happening and maybe the kid hasn't realized it. This kind of thing, we don't want to really bang them right away. Now, if I seen the kid twice or 3 times, then I might think differently. But this is the type of thing where we just need to tell them, hey, like, just wrap some tape around it, close it to where you can't see the skin, and we move on. We don't have the 1 or 3 minute penalties anymore for this. It's all just, excuse me. the 2 minutes, non-releasable. Whether it's a deep pocket, whether it's a pinched head, a legal head, the stick's too short, it's all 2 minutes now. I remember, I mean, I know back in a couple years ago, it was certain things were 1 minute, certain things were 3 minutes. No matter what it is now, it's just a 2 minute non-releasable. With stick penalties, remember they can fix it. Even if it's a pinched head, the ball won't come out. Short cross. It's just on them if they're going to take the risk of if they're going to try to bring that stick back in the game. But we usually don't have that issue. It's more of it's a deep pocket. The stick head might be a little tight, and they just have to like open it up just a little bit or tighten up the strings, and then they can just continue to play. Any questions on that?
Yeah, I got one for you. So
Sure.
if someone has a legal stick for whatever reason, they attempt to fix it, and then second half it sticks back illegal because it's a pinched head, we'll say. So what's that penalty the second time?
It's still 2 minutes.
Okay.
It's back in the day, it used to be from 1 minute and it goes to 3 automatic if they brought it back in and didn't fix it. This is just another 2 minute penalty. And just to really think about this, I mean, they only get 5 minutes anyway. So if they're going to get 2 minutes and they're going to get another 2 minutes, unless they haven't gotten a slash or some other kind of personal foul, that second time they're going to be disqualified anyway. So it's on them to do that. It's not really on us to go looking for that stick again. Mostly they're your coaches. If you see an illegal stick on a kid on the other team and you think that that's the same stick and they didn't do anything with it, remember the coaches have a free stick check, and a lot of them will use that in that manner if they think they didn't fix anything and they're just trying to get by with something. But I mean, most kids end up fixing it. I've never really had it yet to where someone's purposely not tried to fix a stick and bring them back into the game. Because then you got to think about it this way. You've already announced that their stick is illegal. The coach is going to ask why it's illegal, deep pocket, whatever it is. So it's knowing what's wrong with that stick. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Any other questions? And I'm sure Greg will get into like one other thing I'll say, and like we all know this. Face-off sticks, they get torqued, they get slammed into. I mean, most face-off sticks are a little pinched anyway. We always try to tell our officials, tries to find someone else, because especially if it is legal or if it's a hot day and they didn't have a chance to fix it and they just got done battling like 40 seconds to get a face-off win and the stick ends up being a little bit pinched. Those are one of the things that I'll have the coach ask for that compared to me. I'll try to find someone else just because I know that they get twerked and turned in all different kinds of directions anyway. Now, if I think that it's just completely pinched and the ball's not coming out at all, then that's something else I'll consider. But in any other situation, I try to make sure to stay away from that situation, especially if it's like end of game. I mean, the coach, like I said, the coaches have that ability to get that stick at the end if they want to try to get a quick 2 minute man up. But this is one of the things where I don't want to interject myself into the finale of that game, especially if it's a close game or tie game or anything like that. Does everyone get me on that? Especially you guys during the summer. I mean, like you won't have a lot of stick checks or like equipment checks. But I'm sure you guys know with summer ball, with your face-off guys, if you coach summer ball, they get melted and everything anyway during the summer, and they look like Frankenstein All right, slashes. All right, here's the definition for slashes. Swinging across an opponent's cross or body with deliberate viciousness or reckless abandonment, regardless of whether the opponent's cross or body is struck. I know it kind of sounds hard to give a slashing penalty, especially if they don't hit anything. That's where game management comes into effect for me. But like, hey, easy, get stick. You'll be amazed on how much you using your voice and talking kids out of fouls actually works. Here is another for Article 2 for slashing in 5-7, striking an opponent in the attempt to dislodge the ball from his cross unless the player is in possession. In an attempt to protect his stick, uses some part of his body other than his head or neck to ward off. Excuse me, I got a dry throat tonight. Some part of his body, head or neck, to ward off the thrust of the defensive player's cross. As a result, the defensive player's cross strikes some part of the attacking person's body other than the head or neck. That's just more of, if it's more of a glancing blow, like it hits the shoulder, and as the offensive player dips down, it comes up. It's talking more of an example of that. And those kind of things where if it's kind of like where the offensive is creating that contact to where they cause the stick to go that way, unless it's like just completely, like I said, like a vicious or reckless check. If it's under control, those kind of things, we need to really think about if we give the slashing penalty there. Just because if it's control check and it kind of glances off the shoulder and makes contact with the head a little bit, maybe that's another thing where like, hey, easy, make sure you get stick. One of those things we can talk them out of that foul. All right, Article 3, striking an opponent in any part of the body with the cross, including its end cap, except when done by a player in the act of shooting, passing, or attempt to scoop the ball. In all situations, a player's gloved hand shall be considered part of the cross, except when in contact with a line marking. So it's more that thing of lifting, hitting the bottom glove, and staying away from the forearm and upper arm and in the body. If I have a player that's making control checks and getting the bottom part of the glove and the stick, that's a good check. It's more when they start pulling back a little bit more and getting in the forearm, getting in the elbow, and away from the stick and the gloved hand, or we need to consider throwing that flag for slashing. You guys have any questions about that? All right. And here's the signal for slashing. It's just a simple extending one arm, taking your other arm, and making a chopping motion on your forearm, on your elbow, whatever you're more comfortable with, whatever is easiest for you for it to look good. And you just have to do it once. Some guys do it like 3 times. That's not really the proper mechanic for that. It's just one red 11, 1 minute slash. But that's a signal for that. All right, tripping. All right. A player may not trip an opponent with any part of the body or cross. Tripping is obstructing an opponent at or below the waist with the cross, hands, arms, feet, or legs by any positive primary action if the obstructing player is on his feet, or by any secondary action when the obstructing player is not on his feet. When a player is legally checked the cross of the opponent and the result of that check causes the player to trip over his own cross, no foul has committed. Similarly, if an opponent fails over, or excuse me, if an opponent falls over a player's cross when a player is attempting to scoop up a loose ball, no foul has been committed there either. So if we have a stick check and they get stick and a little bit of the fall through as the player just keeps running, falls over that defenseman's stick. If they got stick first, or like I said in the definition, where it's just they're scooping through the ball and they trip over the cross that's trying to scoop through the ball, all that is we're playing on. It's the positive motion of throwing a check, missing the stick, and going through the feet, or getting it into the feet to where the player trips over. That's where we need to consider calling this personal foul here. And as you see here, the signal for it is you kind of just bend down a little bit, make a swiping motion by your knee for the tripping foul. All right, unnecessary roughness. A lot of fouls, especially of our excessive nature, can be called this way. It's excessively violent infractions, rules against the holding and pushing fouls. Deliberate or excessively violent contact made by a defensive player against an offensive player while they're establishing a string, so a screening position. So pretty much just running through the screen, seeing the screen, looking over, seeing it's there, and just running through the screener. Those need to be called unnecessary roughness. Any avoidable contact on the part of the player that is deliberate or excessively violent, whether it may be body or cross. This may include illegal body contact. So that's the extending up, out excessively on body contact. And then a check delivered with the glove hand or hands may not be delivered with a punch and blow. So it's more of a situation here. If you have someone who's had 2 or 3 pushes, whether it's loose ball or with possession, and they're not really lightening up or making the checks harder and harder, you can upgrade that push to unnecessary roughness. It's one of those things you want to talk them out of, but if you have a kid that just keeps pushing somebody and is not really letting up and going harder and harder and could be causing bodily harm to that player, you may want to upgrade it to unnecessary roughness just to send that message of to cool down, chill out, stop making that check. Any questions on unnecessary roughness, tripping? All right. And the signal for that is you kind of touch the brim of your cap. Some guys extend it. I kind of just stay with the book and kind of like it's like kind of like a half salute above the hat is the signal for unnecessary roughness. All right, and sportsmanlike conduct, we know this is one of those fouls we need to get control of because it can cause situations like we have here on the right. Here's the definition: no player, substitute, or non-player member of a squad, coach, or anyone officially connected with the competing team enter into an argument with an official to any decision that has been made or in any way attempt to influence the decision of the official, using threatening, profane, obscure language or gestures at any time during the game, bait or call undue attention onto oneself, or any other act considered unsportsmanlike by the officials, deliberately using hands or fingers to play the ball or grab an opponent's cross with an open hand or fingers on a face-off. Alex Smith was known for that a little bit back in the day. For those of you who remember him back in Delaware, the infamous shot of him grabbing the ball and throwing it between his legs. Here's a note though on that: inadvertent touching of the ball when the hand is grasping the stick on a face-off should not be called an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. So, like some of these face-off kids, they'll take their stick, throw on the other side of the ball if they can. It's gonna be a little harder this year to do that, especially not being on the knee, and just taking the ball and raking it back, or the ball hits their hand that's wrapped around their stick. It's only when the hand's opened up and you have a finger flicking motion, or like I said, they kick the ball and they grab it and throw it out the back or to the side or wherever the case may be. That's the only time where on a face-off you want to consider unsportsmanlike conduct. Everything else is just if the coach keeps questioning your call, calls you awful, has some choice words for you, anything profanity or language, we need to get it right away, whether that is with a conduct foul, whether that's taking the ball or having a kid serve for 30 seconds, or if we need to jump off, especially with like the F-bombs and the very nice words that they don't want them using in school. That's when we need to jump up to the 1 minute unsportsmanlike unreleasable foul. And all unsportsmanlike conduct fouls are non-releasable. The only time that you run into something that's a conduct or or a 1 minute foul for that is defender stepping in the crease second time to attempt to stop a shot. That's the only time where it's releasable. All the other unsportsmanlike conducts are at least 1 minute non-releasable. It could be more. It just depends on the situation you have. Fighting is an ejection and it's 3 minutes non-releasable. And especially situations where we have here on the left. If I have like a coach or a player saying something and they're questioning the call, I'll have my key phrase of that's it, that's enough, move on, to where that's their final warning before we get to this stage or to the conduct foul stage, depending on what, like I said, what's said. But my big thing is, especially with players saying something to each other, especially them getting in each other's face or one player trying to get in someone's face, that's when you need to jump up to unsportsmanlike conduct fouls. To me, player on player, it's got to be automatic. If you can kind of separate it to where it doesn't get to any worse from a conversation or bumping and you can get there quick, maybe I don't give it and I think about it the second time. But it's a very clear message if you have two kids jawing at each other and things are getting chippy, to throw both of these guys in the box, 1 minute non-releasable, give them a little timeout and let the teams know this isn't going to be acceptable at all today. And most of the time when we do stuff like that, it usually calms things down quite a bit. When you start letting these things go, kids start talking to each other, we get to the fighting over here to the right. And the signal for unsportsmanlike conduct is simply you just extend your arms out to the side for the unsportsmanlike conduct signal. Any questions on unsportsmanlike conduct? The one thing I will say for unsportsmanlike conduct, if it's on a coach, whether it's the first or second one on a individual coach, they're both 1 minute fouls. Back in the day, it was 1 minute, and then the second unsportsmanlike conduct would be 3 minutes. They changed that 2 or 3 years ago to where if a coach that gets ejected, it's only a 1 minute non-releasable foul the second time as well. All right, fouling out or disqualification. In youth roles, for the games I would be assigning you to if you're going to work youth, it's 4 personal fouls, or it's 5 minutes for high school. So any combination, you can have 5 personal fouls to get to disqualification. You can have 1 minute, 2 1 minute fouls. This is illegal cross. It would be 2 minutes. But let's just say this is a targeting foul. You have 3 minutes. Well, then it'd be, of course, we would discuss if we would be tossing them anyway for an ejection, or we would just be disqualifying them for that game. Because remember, for disqualification, it's just like fouling out in basketball. They just can't finish that game. They can play the next game. If we eject somebody, they can't play that next game. Any questions about fouling out or disqualification? And remember, it's only personal fouls that count towards disqualification. You can have 3 pushes, 2 holds. None of that counts towards that 5 minutes. It's only personal fouls that count towards that and unsportsmanlike conducts. All right, ejections. Like I said here, the first foul for unsportsmanlike conduct will be 1. The second on the same player will be 3 minutes, and they're automatically ejected from the game for that. If a player is ejected from the game, the in-home, which will be the first attackman in the book, will serve that foul, whether it's for that ejected player or for a coach on the bench getting unsportsmanlike conduct. The ejected player must leave the premises. There are exceptions to that. If there's not an assistant coach to go with that player to wherever they're going, whether it's the bus or back to the school, you can't let that player go off by themselves and no one know where that player is potentially. If there's nowhere for that player to go and there's no coach to go with that player, you just have them take off their helmet, or you ask the coach to have them take off their helmet and they sit on the end of the bench to be seen and not heard. We have fighting, so anything like punching, any fighting motion is automatic 3 minutes, and they're gone. Like I said, coaching ejection. This thing, it's an older PowerPoint. I tried to fix it. It wouldn't let me for some reason. But for coaching ejections, it's 1 minute for both, whether it's the first one or the second one. They're both 1 minute. Any questions about anything personal foul related? Then we'll go over enforcement for a little bit and then we'll be done. It'll only take a few minutes. Everyone see my screen for Rule 7 penalty enforcement? All right. So, it's a little hard to see, but I'm going to go through everything. We want to recognize the situation. The foul occurs. Is it loose ball? Is the team in possession? Is the team non-possession? Personal technical fouls in each one of these situations. So loose ball, personal fouls. We're going to have a whistle, an automatic whistle, and a flag. Loose ball, technical fouls. We're going to have our play on situation that we'll discuss. Team in possession, we'll have the flag down for both. Team not in possession, we'll have technical fouls. Remember, it's going to be play on still. But remember, all personal fouls, whether someone has the ball or someone doesn't have the ball, they're all going to be flags. All right, our flag down slow whistle technique. So whether there's a slash, we have a personal possession, we're gonna have what we call our slow whistle. We're gonna throw our flag. We're gonna yell flag down. I usually yell it 2 or 3 times just to make sure everyone can hear me, especially if we have a bunch of kids screaming and hooting and hollering, trying to fight over a ball. If I have that technical foul with possession or a personal foul with possession, I'm going to throw the flag, not blow my whistle yet, yell flag down, flag down. That way everyone knows. And then we have to go through our goodie scenario where it's the only things that will kill it. So it'd be a goal scored, a shot out of bounds, ball goes out of bounds. We have a foul committed by the offensive team. We have a second foul by the defense. And remember, with second fouls on the defense, We need to kill the play after the second flag unless the player has an opportunity to score immediate. So that, like, let's just say you have like a slash or a push or anything like that, like that's outside. And as the kid's driving to goal to try to dodge and score, he gets hit in the head again with a slash. We're going to throw that flag and yell flag down, but we're going to see how that play finishes. So if he's still moving towards the goal with an immediate chance to score, we're going to let that play out. If he ends up pulling it out and trying to go back the other way or go behind the goal, that's where we're going to kill that play by roll on the second flag.
Now with the second flag though, if he's going to cage and he hits a backside cutter who's like stepped to the shot, we still let that play out.
Yes.
If
If
that's immediate
it's
goal.
a feed the back of the pipe, Duke and Duncan score, that's the same thing. We're going to let that play out. If they miss the ball, if they mishandle it and it hits the ground, that's when we're going to kill that play. Any other questions about that? And all those situations are in the rule book. I like using the phone app. It's easy to get to. But like I said, you're gonna have the flag down, you're gonna throw the flag, the steps, and like I said, the goodie technique on how you can remember all the the ways we kill that play. Relaying the penalty. So if I'm working with Craig and I have a foul, he's nearest the table, we kill the play dead. I'm going to relay to him what I have, which is color, number, the infraction, and the amount of time. And that's really for anything that's not 2 to 3 minutes, those kind of things, 1 minute fouls, pushes, 30 seconds. We can just relay to our partners and they go report it to the table. And as me, and I'm sure Greg's gonna go over mechanics later, how we handle our individual responsibilities on who does what after the relay. But like I said, if you have something to head or neck, defenseless or targeting, that's when these two guys here, if I'm one of them, we're going to run together. We're going to talk about it. We're going to still keep our eyes on the players just to make sure nothing's happening behind us. That way we're aware of everything and anything that could be going on. So we relay it to our partner. He relays it to the table and the coaches. And we relay it to the goalie. That way that he knows how long he's been down for, whether it's 30 seconds, minute, or anything more. And like I said, we call it for reporting penalties the C note. It's the color, the number, the offense, and the time. Any questions on that? Used for the in-home, it'd be a flag on the bench. If for some reason you lost the number in the scrum, like you saw the slash, and you know it's on the defense, you know it's a player in white, but you lost the number. This situation we kind of want to stay away from. But if we have something we need a call, and we don't have a number, we just have to use the in-home. And remember, we keep that on our cards that we're gonna have in this little spot in the upper middle corner. In-home, that's where we're going to keep that number so we can remember it. All right, this is the last thing we're going to go over, play-ons. If a team is entitled to possession, and for some reason, let's just say, just like this situation here, the goalie's trying to pick up a loose ball, he gets pushed from behind. We're going to let this play out for a little bit. We're going to put our hand up in the air, yell play on. We don't want play-ons to go on for too long. I usually give players one chance to try to scoop the ball up if they miss it, they run past it, or like in this situation, it's in my opinion, the goalie's probably gonna fall on his stomach. We're gonna yell play on, quick whistle, tweet, tweet. Whatever it is, hold, put, loose ball, hold, push. Everyone get the ball up and get the play going again. We don't want this situation to where we yell play on, we let the goalie get up because he can get pushed again, he could get slashed again. It just can create other issues and the situations we don't need to deal with during the game. But let's just say he's standing, not on his knees. He gets pushed a little bit. We have the push because he gets disadvantaged. But I'm going to give that goalie, if he has an opportunity, to pick it up clean and go. If it's a situation to where the goalie's going to pick it up and he automatically gets it checked out again, I'm going to kill it there too. And some back in the day, it used to be if you picked up the ball, the play on was over. But if this player is still going to be disadvantaged after the push, we don't want to reward the players who committed that offense to get away with that foul. So if the goalie or whatever player it is who got offended can pick up the ball clean and go, and whether circle back around and run their clear or get the offense settled again, we'll drop our hand and yell blue ball, red ball, whatever the case is, whoever's entitled to that possession, who picks it up, and let the play continue. But if it's a situation to where the player in black isn't going to get the ball back on his own, we need to yell, like we said, play on, blow a whistle, give the offense, and give the ball to the right team. Any questions on that? And I usually give them a couple seconds to get the ball. But you don't want a situation to where you're giving like 10, 15 seconds for a scrum to go on, because you could have players coming in, trying to take somebody out, trying to clear out the pile. You could run into targeting situations there, depending on how far they come from. It just can cause a lot of situations there. Any questions on that? Is everyone good with that? All right, so I'm going to stop here. Greg's going to pick it up next week and probably talk a little bit on Saturday about some other things, but he definitely wanted me to go over the play on situation with you guys and the flag down slow whistle. So if you guys have any questions, we can answer them real quick. If not, you guys will be good to go. You guys have anything? All right, so just stay in contact with Greg. Let him know if you plan on officiating just in the summer or if you're going to officiate this spring. And you guys have a good night. Good seeing everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Michael.
Yep. See you, Craig.
We'll keep in touch. Thanks for getting me into this.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. I'm glad you got into it, dude.
Yeah, there's a chance I might be coaching at Poly, so I'll be able to do middle school. So,
That's cool.
but
And if you want to ref youth, I mean, you don't have to go through any extra certification because we cover it all here. So I mean, I could definitely can use you Saturdays. Oh, I mean, if you're available. I mean, I understand if you want to be home during the weekend. Or
no,
if you
I want to
want-
make money.
But if you
Yeah.
want to ref games on Saturday mornings or early afternoons, I mean, I can definitely give you. I mean, that's all cash.
Yeah, that's totally fine with me. I'm available. So,
All right.
all right, man.
I'll
I'll
talk to you.
see you.